Saudi Arabia now goes into a phase of consolidation. It takes first absorption, learning, internal transformation, but that is a pre-regional and international growth. The local companies in Saudi Arabia are becoming very good at adapting and transforming and interpreting between two different codes, two different speeds, two different expectations, two different languages. And this kind of collective knowledge is now embedded in leading Saudi companies who will help them to become more flexible in the future.
Welcome to the Issuer Academy, Paymentology's podcast to innovate, scale, and provide impact. I'm your host, Merusha Naidu. If you're a fintech professional, banking leader, or an innovator in the digital payment space, you're in the right place. Here, we deep dive into the challenges and triumphs of launching next-generation card programs, from virtual cards and digital wallets to cross-border FX solutions. Let's get started. Welcome to the Issuer Academy, coming to you live from Money 2020 here in the Middle East in Riyadh. Our theme for this special live episode is Built for Saudi, Connected to the World. Local roots, global impact, and of course, digital payments. Saudi Arabia is at the heart of digital transformation, and digital payments are leading the charge. Just last year, 79% of all retail transactions were contactless and cashless, which is ahead of Vision 2030's targets. At the same time, Saudi expatriates sent nearly $38.5 billion abroad in 2024. And no company embodies this evolution more than Enjaz. Long trusted in remittances and now stepping boldly into the digital era. Please join me in welcoming today's guests. Firstly, we have Bassam Aleidy, CEO of Enjaz. We also have Ibrahim Farag, Chief Product and Growth Officer at Enjaz. And of course, our very own Jeff Parker, CEO of Paymentology. Welcome to you all.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you for coming on the Issuer Academy. We're really excited to have you. Let's now look at Enjaz evolution, which is such an exciting story. Enjaz has long been a trusted name in remittances, and importantly, is a fully owned subsidiary of Bank Al Bilad, giving it the backing and trust of one of Saudi Arabia's most trusted financial institutions. Enjaz has built an incredible physical network of over 200 branches across the kingdom, serving millions of customers. And at the same time, you've also reached global expansion through partnerships, ensuring customers can connect with families and communities in over 200 countries. Bassam, tell us a little bit more about the Enjaz story. How do you see the organization evolving now with digital payments which are central to everyday life? How do you see Enjaz's role in evolving and shaping the future of international remittances across borders? But also at the same time, just tell us more about Enjaz and how you guys came to be.
Yeah, definitely. Sure. Thank you for inviting us to this podcast. It's a pleasure being here. And actually, it's a quite interesting story about Enjaz. Enjaz used to be a business vertical within Bank Al Bilad, and this almost for more than 25 years ago. And then there was a decision that we have to start making Enjaz act differently into the market, in the Saudi market, and start to differentiate itself by having a different proposition. And with that decision that have been made, we started acquiring an EMI license. It's a major EMI license. This was, I believe, October 2022, which was the first operational day. And then we started moving it out to operate by itself. And it was a quite long journey. Enjaz now it's trying to put its effort into the digital ecosystem of Saudi, building different propositions, different products and services. And I think that journey started even, if I'm not mistaken, during the pandemic, where Enjaz started shifting from the conventional way of servicing customers through the branches by introducing a new digital app. This was in 2020, and I remember that when I was a Chief Digital Banking and Innovation Officer in Bank Al Bilad, and we have started collectively working into introducing such products in the market in order to make sure that we can cater for the pandemic and what happened during that situation. And we launched that app in 2020. And then we have managed to migrate all of the customers from the branches during that pandemic, because no one was able to go to the branches, and then they have started doing their remittances on the application. And with that in mind, we have done that decision to take it as management. So the management collectively identified that this is a demand and a need that we have to introduce Enjaz differently into the market. And now we've been there for, I think, 2 years and a half, quite nearly to the 3 years. And we're shaping a different transformation journey for Enjaz, and we'll be able to be unique in the market, inshallah, soon.
Amazing. I think, looking at the pandemic, the fact that you were so quick to pivot and, understand that your customers needed a digital solution and very quickly, create a digital app, which you've rolled out to millions of customers, that not many businesses can react, so proactively, so quickly. So that was incredible.
Yeah, actually, banking platform and advancement and digital transformation strategy and direction was then put, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2018. And then it started evolving according to that. Banking managed to introduce the first account opening digitally in the Middle East, actually in the GCC and Middle East, for fintechs and banks. Even before the fintechs come into the picture, banks were not being able to open accounts digitally. And with that change, I remember when we had so many discussions and so many iterations of making sure that this could happen. We've been part of the initiation of the sandbox of Sama. And then once we have managed that in 2018, we put the foundation of a real digital account opening process in Saudi Arabia. And then based on this, it got evolved. And it was easy for us to accommodate even Enjaz and do the same process from account opening perspective or a wallet opening perspective, and taking it from that perspective and manage to introduce it to market very fast.
Bassam, just tell me, obviously during the pandemic, the branches were closed, but now that the branches are open again, what's the percentage now between digital and, is it still stayed on the digital side?
Yeah, definitely. The major part of the percentage of this transaction is running on the digital channels. Minority is on the branches. However, there's still a demand and need on that, but I think this will be demising coming period.
And so you still have that hybrid approach with it, which I think in Saudi is so important because you still have customers who are learning about, having digital payments, how to use it. And so it's a safety net, I think, to still have those branches. So it's great that you still have that hybrid approach.
That's true. But even we're transforming even the branches way forward. The way the branches used to be and the way the branches would be, it's going to be more of a self-service channels rather than being serviced by people or by tellers. So even that from perspective of digital transformation would be part of the full strategy of that transformation.
And Ibrahim, from a product lens, what are the biggest shifts you are seeing in customer expectations? How do people want to send, spend, and manage their money differently today than they did 5 years ago?
Good question to you. And it comes in a very interesting time because being in remittance, we have a lot of stress because of what customer experiences in digital and core business in comparison to what the risk he can get in the remittance business. Remittance is very complicated. It has two sides, two KYCs, and more complicated process for settlement, reconciliation, etc. So customer now expects everything instant, same like Netflix or Amazon Shopping or Amazon Fresh. So same experience also he expects when it comes to different methods for payments. Now there is, especially from young generations, are expecting more of out of wearables, more cost-effective devices in comparison to the expensive phones. I remember the old days, we were talking about mobile phones for financial inclusion, but we forgot that mobile phones is still expensive for many, for millions to own. So the use of wearable nowadays also, in a way or another, might be a way forward to help. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think a lot of these products which are making payments just simpler and more accessible to everyone is definitely the way to push and really develop that transformation.
I think also biometric authentication.
Yes.
Very important, yeah.
Absolutely. And when we talk about Vision 2030 and Saudi's digital transformation, one of the biggest themes across Money 2020 this year has been one of the targets for Vision 2030, right? And to be fair, payments are really at the heart of it. So when we look at Saudi, like we said, Saudi hit 79% of cashless transactions, right now before the end of 2025, because the target was 70% at the end of 2025. So we're way ahead of targets. But Sam, how is Enjaz aligning with the national vision?
Before just jumping into how we are aligning, I just want to mention something in regards to even the programs that have been put with from the country when it comes to financial sector development program, and how the country itself is working towards advancing all the ecosystem that we're currently relying on. I believe that one of the proposition that helped into having a real digital account opening that I was just talking about or mentioning is having a real digital identity that helped into um, easy authentication for customers, whether it is some sort of a facial recognition or a fingerprint that can be used in different methods or different customer touch points. So with that in mind, I would say that the evolution that we see today, it was a roadmap that is being implemented day by day and year by year. And starting from that perspective until now, where we see lots of initiatives that coming into the market, where it comes from a real digital transformation infrastructure that helped this vision to be realized. Looking into open banking as we speak, looking into even banking as a service that is being introduced to the market, even from Bank al-Bilad side, it was one of the propositions that have been introduced to the market that we are also adopting from Enjaz, and we're working into such direction. So when we see it from a vision perspective, I just mentioned 70% and above is digital payment transaction in comparison to, I think this is even got increase in the last couple of years. And I think it reached more than 70%. And this was maybe 2024 or 5 targets. Financial inclusion now is one of the key things that we are working towards, having a real financial inclusion. The digital financial services is reaching everyone in this country. And the second part of it, which is more related to the digital economy. And this is what we're seeing now. The whole ecosystem is having a right place and right picture, that we are accommodating it as we speak from Enjaz side and even from all the financial sector side. Also, I would say that other than this, from initiatives related to lowering the cash in the society and increasing the digital payments and making it much more efficient, low cost, and interoperable. And if we're talking about interoperability also, where the infrastructure helped a lot from payment perspective, that it gives the empowerment to every company that they are able to introduce their products and services on top of an interoperable system being provided as an ecosystem or as an infrastructure in the country. So we're aligning with all of these initiatives by providing the right technology, right apps, right services, right products that is being demanded and required by customers, because I understand that the diversification is something which is very critical. Customer touch points being given to the customers where and how and at the time that they need, it's something that is very critical. And this is what we're trying to do in our strategy and our direction as we go.
Absolutely. I think when you think about the way Saudi and the government have put together Vision 2030, it really is about saying, look, there is a drive for financial inclusion. There's a drive to create a real cashless society. And I think with the work that you guys are doing at Enjaz, it's really speaking directly to all of those critical kind of strategy points that Sam has put forward. So it's really great that you guys are very well aligned, and at the same time you are answering a question to customers, which is, how do I make remittances easy? How do I make it accessible? How do instantaneous, safe as well? It really just encompasses all of the main points of Vision 2030.
That's very true.
You're at
Customer
the heart of it.
experience and the convenience is one of the critical and the most important things that we are caring about from our perspective as well.
We were talking earlier about some Vision 2030 from a outsider's point of view, because I'm not from the kingdom, but it feels like it's like when you run a business, you have to align all your employees against behind a strategy, and so everyone knows exactly what their part to play is. It's quite simple in theory, but I think what Saudi's done amazingly well is actually get the whole country behind Vision 2030, and everyone knows exactly what the goal is, what the game is, and it's same voice. It's super powerful, and it's kind of wonders. It's kind of genius.
It's very unique.
It's a mindset, a mindset, and the ambition that everyone is after.
Impressive.
Absolutely. And Ibrahim, having a vision is great, but looking at compliance and localization, they are also critical, right? MADA being a prime example here in Saudi. How do you balance meeting these regulatory requirements while still pushing forward that innovation and, that dynamic new products that you guys are looking at?
Number one, we need to, when it comes to innovation, I believe everyone looks of innovation in terms of tech and product only. But a process itself, there can be any innovation within a process, a management style, mentality. So I believe, number one, innovation is going on no matter what, no matter when or where. Number two, when it comes to compliance, and you know that I'm not compliance best friend as growth.
Well, we have to make sure that we are.
But certainly compliance comes as
Definitely.
Enjaz is a systematically important financial institution. Systematically important. So we think of controls ahead of scalability because we have social responsibility.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was given one of my colleagues an example about JP Morgan, where we're saying like, we are ready for the crypto when we get the green light. So they have the tech, they have the people, but they are not disruptive in that sense. They have social, international even responsibility. So I believe compliance is a very good chance for innovation. It's not a challenge. Yes, it might, in a way, limit the direction or dimension of your innovation. However, within a pre-identified paradigm, that keeps it more exciting, how we can become better and more innovative given the compliance. You have also, when it comes, also you can be more innovative to meet the compliance criteria when it comes to fraud management, fraud detection, behavior, understanding customer behavior, etc. So I never seen compliance as it's a challenge, yes, but it's not against innovation.
I agree, and also on that, from that perspective, there are lots of tools being given by regulatory in order to be able to accommodate all the changes that you're doing it and are still having these responsibilities being in place. And based on this, the innovation in this market is being well driven and being well even secured and being safe.
Absolutely. I think, go ahead.
And
Ibrahim.
having a very good reputation of compliance helps
Stable economy.
to get approvals, helps with the trust of regulators, helps also with the measures and controls and supervision. You are not being micro-supervised because they trust your internal controls and governance. That helps also in a way.
And I think sometimes taking that extra time to find the right solution that's compliant, that also drives growth, drives sustainable growth as well.
Yes, sustainability is a key word for Enjaz as well. Yeah.
I remember when we were graduating, the first initiative in the sandbox here in Saudi, it was the account opening for retail. It was a very wonderful journey that we've been through, even with the regulator. It was very, very, very insightful journey, and we've learned a lot out of it. And today, it really was the paving path for each and every innovation that comes into the place.
Ibrahim, one of the things that I love that you said was it's really about processes, and processes can actually lead to innovation. Because a lot of the time when you talk about, for example, digital onboarding, KYC, that kind of thing, it's really about also building that trust with the customer, right? So you're not only building the trust with the regulator, you're building the trust with your banking partners, but you're also showing the customer that you're doing things in the right way. And if they follow the processes, then they do get access to this amazing world of, all of these digital products and digital services. So I think process and trust go hand in hand, and it really is, carrying it all the way through to the end consumer.
Yes, and part of the overall trust in the financial system, integrity of financial system, helps also highly compliant companies like Enjaz to get more business and to grow.
Absolutely. It's always good to comply from the very beginning as well. That way the regulators are on your side from the start. So good job there. Jeff, from your global vantage point, why is Saudi such a pivotal market for the future of payments?
I mean, just take a look around. We're at Money 2020 in Middle East. Huge amounts of companies with great ambition. I think we've talked about already Vision 2030. I think that aligned mindset is incredible. I was talking to someone yesterday and saying that it feels like Silicon Valley 10, 15 years ago. I think in the UK where I'm from, you come up with a good idea and the first response is why that won't work. And I remember going to Silicon Valley and I had that same kind of conversation and it's the feedback is, okay, well, how do we make that work? We'll do a tweak here, do a tweak there. And I think we can build on that idea. And that mindset is why they were so successful, I think. And that's the same mindset I experienced in Saudi. It's a collective mindset of we're going to make this work and we're going to succeed and we're going to grow and we're going to grow the whole pot. And so I think that's the exciting thing. And you know, all the fundamentals are here. It's fast digital adoption. It's a large and growing population. There's an ambition for new product excellence. So I think it's for us as Paymentology, we are global. We've got clients in 65 countries, but this is the most exciting region for us at the moment.
Absolutely. And it comes from the top, right? If the regulators, like we said a clear vision and goal, everyone kind of knows this, they're moving in the right direction. And that's what's so exciting about Saudi. I think throughout Money 2020, we have seen so much innovation, so many new ideas around building better experiences for customers or just driving that thinking of digital. So it's been an incredible experience. I want to touch on how does being built in Saudi give Enjaz or other fintechs a unique advantage in serving both citizens and expatriates? Because that is something that's quite different. Being built here in Saudi is such a strong advantage that you have. How has that been for you guys?
It's a quite interesting question, and in specific that the word built in Saudi and actually for Saudi and inshallah will be for cross-border. This is something that is part of our vision and our ambition and our strategy and direction as well. There is a proprietary IP is being developed for Enjaz, which is Enjaz Easy as a product. That product is connecting Saudi to more than 10, 15 countries that we have some sort of a bilateral agreement and an integration with them directly that it helps into the growth and the enhancement of the products and services that we're providing within Enjaz. And this gives us the being proud about this product and our ambitious towards taking it to the next level.
Absolutely. There's so many markets, especially across the Middle East and globally, who could learn from the companies that are built in Saudi for customers who are really touching on financial inclusion and digital, and really carrying those ideas to the rest of the world is critical. Ibrahim, any products that you can think of specifically that speak to the Saudi market?
A limited number of products. However, I believe Saudi market now is in need for more products when it comes to AI empowered or powered analytics, decisioning, MarTech generally. Also, the interesting part which not many see is the back end side of things, settlement, reconciliation solution as well. I believe also solutions for tokenization is still needed badly in Saudi Arabia. I see also still potential for wearables in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff, I think Ibrahim just touched on tokenization in Saudi. How are you as Paymentology answering that need for tokenization and digitization?
I think as a business, we believe one of our differentiators is around that tokenization piece. And actually, it's not just Saudi that tokenization, I think, is becoming key. There's many markets, but I think as we've touched on, Saudi is probably leading the way in terms of that adoption of digital. So that's even more important here. The interesting dynamics around Saudi Arabia is it's not just across Visa and MasterCard, there's also the local scheme MADA to deal with. So for us, we are spending lots of time and effort in making sure that we are tokenized across all of those channels. And when we talk tokenization, because I think it means different things to different people, for us, it includes a number of things. It starts with the instant tokenization of the physical card into the virtual card. It then talks to how you put that virtual card into a wallet. So whether that's Apple Pay, Samsung Pay. Yesterday's exciting announcement that Google Pay is going to come to MADA with Alipay Plus as well. And then once it's in there, in the wallet, it's how do I then give greater user experiences to the cardholder from the phone? And I think that's really the next step of true innovation. So we look at things around spend controls, limits over certain durations of time, giving different limits or different MCC codes that they can transact with to different employees. So if you think about an individual, I might want to issue an instant card to my son. I want to be able to give them a limit of $500 for a period of time to spend in certain category codes. And I think the more that we can personalize that product and service, the better experience it is for the customer, and the more that our clients can differentiate. Because at Paymentology, ultimately, we're just an enabler. It's actually it's our clients that are doing the hard work and actually generating the client experiences.
Absolutely. I think, Bassam, you touched on, that hyper-personalization of being able to digitally onboard, make sure that the customer understands how to use the product, and really create a holistic experience. That tokenization really helps, like you said, Jeff, enable our customers to really create that experience for their customers. And actually, that touches on a very good point. My next point is about partnerships and innovation. Something we've heard a lot about here at Money 2020 is no company can transform alone, right? And partnerships are really accelerators. So Bassam, to you, when leading transformation, what do you look for in a technology partner? A partner who can help you scale securely, but also at speed.
Since Jeff is here, maybe you had that discussion earlier, me and Jeff, and we were talking about that specific demand that we have. How a partner can help you to grow safely and securely and deliver your strategy and your roadmap. One of the things is being the innovative partner. And this is one of the key aspects that we are highly demanding in having a partner who can help into taking our ambition to the next level. Yes, we are an innovative company and we continue to strive as an innovative company, but we need an innovative partner. And second thing, which is the most critical part of it, if you want to grow fast, easy, efficiently, without any hurdles in your journey, have a partner which they have a configurable product. Being a configurable product, it makes it easy for you to grow easily, to deliver what customer want, what customer need, have the changes and the adoption of the demand very fast, and being able to go to the market faster than others. And it's not being a competition. I understand that. I appreciate all of that. But the thing is, if you will be able to deliver what really customer wants in a very fast manner, you will be able to have them always as a loyal customer for you. And then this is the two main things for me for selecting a partner.
Absolutely. And
despite the commercials, definitely.
Besides the commercial. We'll have that discussion offline.
Yeah, sure.
But you touch on two very, very valid points. A partner that has the same vision and innovation style as you, as well as configurability. And I think for other CEOs that are listening online or even here, they really need to, understand from CEOs who, like you, who have managed to create these amazing products and features for customers. They don't know how to find partners. And so this is such valuable information, because the reality is configurability allows you to launch quickly. It also allows you to pivot if something doesn't work. So if there's a solution or a process that you've put together for a customer and actually the customer adoption is low, you can very quickly say, okay, that's not working, let's try something different. So that's a very, very valid point and great suggestion. Ibrahim, what kind of innovations become possible when you combine deep local knowledge with global grade infrastructure?
Good one. So number one, as we were mentioning earlier, Saudi Arabia now goes into, I believe, a phase of consolidation. So it takes first absorption, learning, internal transformation, but that is a pre-regional and international growth. So I believe also you will find many Saudi fintechs and financial institutions who will envision regional acquisitions, regional growth, and having a robust uh, financial infrastructure and a collective learning experience from partners who are coming from all around the globe. That gives a collective localizes knowledge. Also, to be able to operate, to have this kind of mindset between international standards and the localization, as you mentioning MADA, for example. So the local companies in Saudi Arabia are becoming very, very good at adapting and transforming and interpreting between two different codes, two different speeds, two different expectations, two different languages. And this kind of collective knowledge is now embedded in leading Saudi companies who will help them to become more flexible in the future to go to the international other markets. Also having excellent, sustainable, trust-based relationship with companies who are having international experience who can learn from, and the international network who can help us. That helps to go to other markets in the region in anticipation for more.
Absolutely. And I couldn't have said it better myself, because you're absolutely right. It's taking that international knowledge and localizing it,
Yes.
right? Making sure that it meets the needs of Saudi, but also then you can then re-export it
Yes.
to the rest of GCC and then globally.
Yes.
That learning point is so important. And so many fintechs here need to understand that it is a learning curve, right?
Certainly. Partnerships means adding
Yes.
value.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
that's true.
yeah.
That's very true.
Absolutely. And Jeff, when we look at Paymentology is cloud first, agile, and now you're launching a company in Saudi. So how does it change the game for issuers and fintechs here in Saudi?
So first of all, actually, maybe it was remiss of me not to mention at the start, for those of you listening, yesterday we excitingly announced our partnership with Enjaz and Paymentology. So first of all, I'd like to thank Bassam and Ibrahim for placing that trust in us, because I think, and the reason I mention that as well, it leads me on to the answer. I think what we sell as Paymentology, or is the headline thing, is our technology platform. It's a proprietary platform. It's cloud first. It's very configurable. It allows our clients to iterate quickly on top of that. So when we understand the customer base and the use cases, we can configure the product in a way that meets the needs of the end user's customer and create a unique product for them. And I think we almost start to think about that as hygiene within Paymentology, because that's how we built the business and that's what we think is required. But I think the bit that sometimes gets missed, and you touched on it between the two of you a bit, which is about the people side of things. Actually, an effect in my mind that a true successful partnership is driven through trust when things don't go right. And it's because things, unfortunately, there's always going to be an issue, and it's how you respond to those issues that I believe builds a true partnership. I think Saudi Arabia especially, I think, is driven on face-to-face relationships over the long term. And I think one of the things that we pride ourselves on very much at Paymentology, in addition to the technology, which is why we have employees in 65 countries, is that we want to put people on the ground with our clients. So we not only do we understand the market, but we actually understand our clients and their business and the problems that they're trying to solve and their customers. So we can help bring advice and insights to hopefully help grow. But also when there are challenges, we can sit there and face them together as partners, because these types of partnerships are multi-year partnerships. It's, once you're in. It's difficult to get out. So I think they're the things that I think is really valuable from our side.
It's really about creating long-term partnership and being able to be together in the good times and the really challenging times. And the challenging times is what makes the partnership stronger. So we're really, like we said, really excited to, with the signing of Enjaz and Paymentology's registration. And I think, again, it just talks to how important Saudi is as a market. really looking at there is so much that we can do and contribute to, not just to Saudi, but the whole of EMEA from a digital perspective, from creating new customer journeys. It's such an exciting time to be here and to be a part of, even Vision 2030.
I think there's just so much more space for innovation as well. Like we think we've done a lot in the last 5 years in terms of customer experiences and things, but there's still a miles.
Yeah,
there's so much more we can do for customers.
Yes.
A lot and a lot.
Faster, quicker, more intuitive, more personalized, rewards, loyalty. There's so much more. Credit, I think, is a huge area. But yeah, huge. I think it's very interesting.
The magic word is convenience. So,
Yes, convenience.
Exactly. Yeah.
And also just learning from our customers. I think our customers can teach us so many new things about new innovations that we are yet to even think about or build. So I think that's what I'm excited about.
Actually, we had a good conversation on this earlier. The term embedded finance is really big in some markets. It almost doesn't seem like it's a word in Saudi Arabia because it's just expected. Like you just expect it to be embedded. So it almost doesn't need a term because, to your point, consumers just want convenience.
So we've covered Enjaz journey. We looked at the national landscape. We looked at the power of partnerships. To close, what I really want to do is look forward because that's where we're all moving. So to all three of you, this episode is called Built for Saudi, Connected to the World. What does this phrase mean to you personally? And where do you see Saudi's fintechs in the next 5 years? Regional champions or true global players? Bassam, I'll start with you.
If you may allow me to change.
Yes, please. Absolutely.
I'll go back for the built-in Saudi.
Okay.
To the world rather than built for Saudi because there are lots that can happen here in Saudi. And I would be very proud by the youth and the entrepreneurs that are doing their efforts here to really build very innovative products that will be having that trademark of built in Saudi and it will be exported to the whole world.
Absolutely. I'm changing the topic of this episode to built in Saudi for the world. Love that. And Ibrahim, what about you?
I think I answered already because
you did.
But there is also one dimension that's very important, which is e-government services in Saudi Arabia. It sets everyone's expectations high when it comes to the digital world. So Saudi Arabia is collectively also heading into having a lot of digital world that can add a lot to the Middle East. That's very important for the Middle East. So I believe Saudi Arabia is a very good stop for global companies who are having ambitions to grow or sell or do business in Middle East. And Saudi Arabia is coming to become the capital or logistics center for re-exporting this kind of knowledge. I've been to many cities in Europe, and I can claim that the acceptance of digital payment and e-government services in Saudi Arabia is much better than you get in so many EU countries.
Absolutely. I can attest to that. I went
Italy.
I went traveling in Europe without a wallet. Didn't work. Doing it here,
Durban.
I was good.
I don't remember when was the last time I held cash with me.
Yeah, me too. But here you can absolutely survive without cash, without a wallet.
I don't have even a wallet.
I don't have
a wallet.
Yeah, I don't have wallet. I don't have cash.
No plastic cards. No driver license and a plastic card. No cash.
No cash.
No wallet. Really, no wallet.
But you need power bank.
Yes, I do agree with that. A power bank is a necessity. We actually made Paymentology power banks. I'll get you one. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that? Built in Saudi, made for the world.
I think my personal view is that the next 5 years is probably going to be quite internally focused to Saudi Arabia, just because there is so much opportunity, and I think this is where a lot of the innovation is happening. But it's actually a really good point I hadn't really thought of. I haven't had many conversations at all this week about Saudi companies exporting and going global, but I think that's definitely going to be the next conversation. And one of the great things that we love about Paymentology is it's a single integration, single code base, and allows you to go into those countries at very little effort. But I think you've hit it a nail on the head. I think the phase 2 will be how do we export what's been built in Saudi to benefit the rest of the world.
Well, actually, lots of experiences and lots of different models have been already exported to the globe from inside Saudi. Too many models that have already been pushed out, and specifically when it comes to digital economy and the whole ecosystem behind.
Absolutely. I know that we have covered this in lots of different ways, but I want to give you one last, chance. So, Ibrahim, Bassam, when we sit, because we will, in 2030, we are going to be back here at Money 2020 in the Middle East, and we're going to be talking about Enjaz evolution, what you guys have achieved, over all of these years. So what would that conversation look like, and what would success look like to you in 2030?
We'll meet in Riyadh or somewhere else.
Well, Riyadh first, and then we'll decide.
Then we would be talking about our journey getting this product to outside of Saudi Arabia.
Amazing. And this brings us to the end of this live episode of the Issuer Academy here at Money 2020 Middle East. Bassam, Ibrahim, Jeff, thank you all so much for joining us here live at the Money Pot. I must say, we are so incredibly excited about all of the cool things that Enjaz are going to do, and that we as Paymentology get to come along for the ride. So thank you very much, and we'll catch you next time on the Issuer Academy.
That wraps up today's episode of the Issuer Academy, Paymentology's podcast to innovate, scale, and provide impact. I hope you're leaving with fresh insights and actionable strategies to help you revolutionize your card programs and drive true impact in the world. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, please leave a review to help us reach more pioneers like you. Also, be sure to subscribe and follow us for more inspiring episodes and behind-the-scenes content from Paymentology. Until next time, I'm Merusha Naidu. Keep innovating, keep scaling, and keep striving to make an impact.